You remember that there was an amendment to the Mines and Minerals Development Act on the floor of the House. I think Honorable Pavuma and Honorable Kangombe came with amendments on the floor. Their arguments were that if we could guarantee, or in the law, we put 40% business guaranteed for Zambians, that could greatly improve or change the complexion on the copper belt. One, employment to be created by these same contractors and suppliers to the mines, and it also reduced the burden on government. So on one hand, you've got mining houses that have received incentives from government. Incentives like, reducing mineral royalty tax from 6% to 3%, and also making mineral royalty tax deductible. And on the other hand, there are no measures to ensure that they give some business to the Zambians. If that particular sector, if that particular business sector is, say, $5 billion per annum, 40% would be $2 billion. So you can imagine how much activity would be on the copper belt just through that single policy. So as members of parliament, we've been fighting on the floor to see to it that government should include it in the law that these mining houses should reserve up to 40% of business for Zambians. So if we look at the mining sector, that would be the starting point, because this is the easiest. Before we even look at upcoming miners, they need to raise capital. They need to find this money. And one way of raising capital is giving them an opportunity to do business with the mines. Then slowly they can grow their businesses. Of course, the lower part of it is in small-scale mining. There's a very big opportunity now in that there's gold all over the country. Wherever you go, you find they're mining gold. But what is required now is leadership. There is need for leadership to guide how this particular resource can benefit its people. One way is for government to go to areas where they're mining gold illegally, do their surveys and assess the quantum of the resource that actually exists. Once they establish how much gold is in a particular area, they can then design a plan to see how many youths can benefit from that particular resource. Let's say, for instance, you establish that there's 1 million tons of gold in Impika. You then design a program of creating cooperatives for youths around Impika and beyond. You take those youths, put them in incubators, put them in incubation. These are basically trainings. You train them on safe mining. You train them on how to look after their licenses. You train them on how to process whatever they produce, and indeed how to manage their finances once they sell their gold. Once you do that, you have created entrepreneurs that you can guide from the time that they begin to harvest to the time that they actually market their gold. Meaning that through backward and forward integration, you've got support through the Ministry of Mines, and you've also got aggregators who are going to take over the minerals that they produce. So you would have tackled mining at the lowest level and also attended to medium and small-scale entrepreneurs being suppliers to the mines at that. And then, of course, later, you are looking at Zambians themselves being able to run these mines. There's nothing difficult. I want to tell you that in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, the people that were running all these mines were actually Zambians, from the CEO coming downwards. So we can't say that today we can fail to find mining engineers to run these mines. That is the reason why we had objected to the sale of Mopani, because the idea was that, with the many complaints that we've gotten, ZRA and government, sometimes they found it very difficult to optimize, tax collection from these mines because of, the nature of that particular activity. So we say that for control measures and control purposes, Zambia, through ZCCMIH, needed to also run a mine, a control mine, so that if the mines are complaining, the mine owners are complaining about the challenges they're facing in that sector, the government to be aware, because they're also running a mine and they may also be facing similar challenges. So we didn't really support the sale of the Mopani. It was a big blow. That mine was a Zambian mine. It needed to be run by Zambians, and that's where we would have maximized return from that particular sector. Yeah, so to answer your question, I think we're looking at the priorities. So the top priority was agriculture. I think the next one was mines. Of course, tourism comes in naturally. It's a question of realigning policies that would benefit Zambians and also encourage investment at a local level.
Okay, let's get the people involved. If you'd like to ask a question or give us a contribution, feel free to call us now, 0974-870-877. We have Honorable Brian Mundubile with us here on the Red Hot Breakfast on Hot FM. We're also live on Radio Ichengelo, Mafken FM, Radio Mano, Mpika FM, Mpangwe Radio, and Kanele FM as well. Call us now. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Feel free to give us a call if you have a question or a contribution. Hello, good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning.
good morning.
Good morning to you.
Dr. Proud for Mundubile.
Please go ahead, Dr. Proud.
The whole European is the same I've got two questions. One question was going to this challenge of cancer, which is not working. If you that harm, or you are thinking from health, how do you decide?
Dr. Proud, just stick to one question, by the way. Just one question. You only allowed one question.
Yes, that's one question.
Okay.
And
Then
if you are as a meaning of health, or you are how do you bring it? Because the analysis during that cancer was ignorant. And when you come from no one, if you promise more money, people say we are
okay, Dr. Proud, I think we got your question. Thank you very much for your call. Let's pick up another call. Remember, you're only restricted to one question. Call us now. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
This is BJ Kuba.
Said your name is?
BJ Kuba.
BJ Kuba. Okay. Please go ahead. We have Honorable Brian Mundubile with us here.
Honorable, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, DJ Kuba.
Yeah, very good explanations you are giving. Because of your love for the country, we really understand you are a very informed man. Now, you spoke about the mines having gone down during the mines having been run by Zambia during the Kaunda era. And you cite experiences that during that time they were doing very fine. But maybe we might have been very young by that time, but what we know is copper prices during that period were very favorable and very high. So, having been run by Zambia, don't you think that the reason why they went down in the first place was because they were localized? And you know the express that goes with running a mine. Zambians do not have capital. Mopani right now is revamped, contractors being paid.
Okay, BJ Kuba. I think the Honorable's got in your question.
I'm winding up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm winding up.
Please.
If you were to be mines minister today, Honorable Mundubile, what would you rather do different from what the current government is doing? Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much for your call. All right, we'll take those two and you can go ahead and respond. We have Dr. Proud and BJ Kuba there.
Yes, Dr. Proud, I'm happy that the UPND, including His Excellency the President, is listening. Just a bit of history, by way of background, Dr. Proud. You will agree with me that under the PF, we prioritized the health sector. You know that we were able to build up to 650 health posts right across the country. We were able to build 50 district hospitals across the country. We were able to build 47 mini hospitals right across the country, and I think about 4 specialized hospitals. So in terms of the healthcare, it's very important that even as you talk about the cancer hospital, what is needed now is to decentralize, in some of these specialized hospitals. They should not only exist in Lusaka, but also in other parts to make it easy for our people. I have in mind, if you go to Luwingu You are going to find Bangweulu Referral Hospital that was started during our time. The idea there was to have all these cancer hospitals and many other specialized hospitals housed within that hospital. So what is needed going forward is to ensure that the big hospitals or specialized hospitals are not only centered in Lusaka or the Copper Belt, but be taken to areas where our people can get help. DJ Kuba, yes, actually when you look at the time the mines went down when the copper prices dipped, when the copper prices actually went low. I think there was a change of there were changes, especially in technology and so on. We saw that the demand for copper and many of our minerals had gone down. That is the reason why those mines collapsed. This is true because even to sell those mines became a challenge. They were not attractive. They were not attractive because the copper prices were low. But where we are now, we are at a point where the demand for our minerals, especially copper and cobalt, is very, very high. So this is the time when we're supposed to have maximized a benefit from these mines, for our people. To merely rely on taxation, from these mines and or at the same time give a lot of incentives to these mines at a time when the prices are so high, I think is not these are not very good policies. When you listen to Minister of Finance, for instance, he basically wants to lay a red carpet for these investors to come. He's forgetting that people mine in Congo. In Eastern Congo, there's war, but there are mines going on there. People are mining in Afghanistan. And yet here, my big brother, Comrade Musogotwane, is busy giving away incentives and losing government revenue in order to encourage investment. If you remember, DJ Kuba, in 2021, when the EPND came into power, they were very quick. I mean, they got in September, and by 30th of October, when the minister was giving his budget speech, he had already given away incentives to the mining sector. We actually wondered what time he had to understand and study the challenges that were being faced in this particular sector. That's the time that he reduced mineral royalty tax from 6% to 3%, and that is the time that he had actually made mineral royalty tax deductible. His argument at the time was that he was trying to encourage investment in the mining sector, and that they will be able to ramp up production from about 800 or 600,000 metric tons to 3 million tons by 2031. We argued with him as members of parliament. We wondered why he did not stagger, those particular incentives, or he did not tie them to certain key outputs. We said you just can't give incentives wholesomely. Why don't you tie some performance to that? For instance, investments up to certain level would attract other incentives. So where we are sitting today, this is almost 5 years later, production is still around 800,000 tons. The president is hoping that we'll get to 1 million tons. Now, if the improvement has only been up to 200,000 metric tons, I think it's time that the Minister of Finance actually reviewed his targets downwards. Instead of looking at 3 million tons in 2031, maybe he should look at 1.5 million tons downwards, as it were. Because I think that's what is practical. If we continue thinking about 3 million tons, we've already gauged the performance of the mines for the past 5 years. And I don't think there will be any miracle that will be performed between now and 2031. So what am I trying to drive at? I'm saying if these incentives were based on these mines producing up to 3 million tons by 2031, and from the look of things, we may only go up to 1.5 million tons. Government might as well look at re-looking at these incentives, because we don't think we've benefited much from the incentives that we gave out.
Okay. Well, Honorable Brian Mundubile, it's been a pleasure speaking to you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
All right. Well, we've been speaking to Honorable Brian Mundubile here on the Red Hot Breakfast on Hot FM.